just want to know if you're on.
Eric de León quiere hacer una pregunta, solamente queremos saber si está conectado.
The translators. Rosario Aragon, right?
Yes.
Okay, first Rosario, go ahead.
Yes, can you repeat? Is this going to be simultaneous or consecutive? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Rosario, there doesn't seem to be interpretation here available. So if you could either ask the question in English or someone from my team can translate the question if you want to deliver the question in Spanish. I apologize and thank you.
Sure, can you repeat the question then?
Tell the translator that she...
Does someone from the media have a question so we can start the press conference?
¿Alguien de los medios tiene alguna pregunta para comenzar la conferencia?
Sí, yo.
We have a question.
Alex Fernandez from Cyber News, go ahead.
Hi. I just want your remarks on how you think this will go forward as the next step from the board, and also I would like a reaction. Also, I like maybe if it can be possible to be in Spanish. A remarks from you about what the judge Taylor Swain asked you this week regarding to the PDA. That would be my question. Thank you.
I'll start out, and I didn't hear the second part, but I'll start out with the first question, kind of where do we go from here? I liked the word that the governor used, pivot, that we're coming out of bankruptcy. Hopefully we will have a decision from the judge soon, and hopefully she will confirm the plan of adjustment, which will radically reduce Puerto Rico's debt to much less than it was before PROMESA, as Natalie Jaresco said, from about 25 cents of percent of Puerto Rico's revenues down to less than 8 cents. So our hope is, and our expectation and our plan is to really pivot now and to focus on development and continuing to ensure fiscal responsibility. So the kinds of growth that we talked about today will really take off. And Detroit is a nice parallel example in that regard. Detroit was in terrible condition before its bankruptcy. What you saw in the media about Detroit was what folks called disaster porn during its distress and during its bankruptcy. After Detroit came out, the narrative completely changed, and investment came, growth is coming, and we expect and hope to see even more of that in Puerto Rico. Natalie, did you want?
Yeah, I think the second question is, what do we think is going to happen next in the Title III court after the judge's order? And what we believe is that the judge's order asks us a series of questions that she would like incremental information upon. And we have been asked to respond by the 20th of this month, so by Monday, and we will respond to her questions. Her questions are generally in two areas. One is with regard to a certain group of claims called eminent domain, and the second with regard to preemption of certain Puerto Rico laws. And so we will answer her questions. She's asked us, we think it's a very good thing that the judge has asked us these questions so that she can have these issues clarified for her and ease her path to what we hope is the confirmation of the plan.
Okay. Next question is going to be Nuevo Día, Joan Isabel.
Buenos días. No, buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Hope everything's fine. Happy holidays. Two quick questions. Are you meeting and conferring with the government as Judge Swain instructed in the order?
Yes, we are doing that today.
So I would imagine that next Monday, what you will be filing will reflect the results of that meeting and confer?
I can't tell you in advance, Johnny Sell, but I'm sure it will influence it. Absolutely.
Have you reconsidered to file a complaint for the annulment of Acts 80, 81, and 82?
Our position on Acts 80, 81, and 82 remain the same. Those acts cannot be implemented in that they are inconsistent with the fiscal plan. They are inconsistent with the budget. And in general, they make promises that are not affordable to keep. And so our position remains the same. There's been no change in our position.
Okay.
But
next-
the intent is to the government to nullify those laws. Are you gonna file the complaint or not?
The board is working with all of its options, Johnny Sapel, and we're going to do what will be necessary to do as we look at the situation. You know that the governor signed Act 33, previously Senate Joint Resolution 171.
Yes.
He made some comments to the press about a need to make adjustments to that. We don't know what that's referring to. So this is all kind of active and moving, and we're responding in real time. We'll see where we land. But those three laws and Joint Resolution 171, Act 33 of 2021 cannot be implemented insofar as that they are inconsistent with the fiscal plan, inconsistent with the budget. And in the case of the broad group of 80, 81, 82, if they were to be implemented in full, the plan that we have proposed to the judge would not be feasible. And so these things can't exist in the same world.
Yeah, we're moving to the next question. Thank you. Kevin Med.
Hi, thanks for the question. You had mentioned in your recent status update with the Title III court that the Oversight Board anticipates that failing to get PREPA securitization bond legislation would likely make the utilities debt restructuring more expensive. Can you talk a bit about that? Would that be like because of additional professional fees, cost of doing business in bankruptcy longer, less favorable bond terms, more cash up front to bondholders, or higher electric bills? Would it be any of those things?
I can start again, and then Natalie or others can jump in. So the question is, what would be the consequences of the legislature not approving a securitization of the bonds with PREPA? And we said in our status report that the effect would be to increase the cost and ultimately increase the cost to Puerto Rico's electricity consumers. And that is all accurate. The reason for that is that the securitization provides more protection to creditors. It separates their source of repayment from PREPA itself, and there's less risk to them. If you don't do that, if you don't give the creditors that protection, they're going to insist on a higher level of repayment, and that's going to manifest itself as ultimately a cost to the electricity consumer. What's called the transition charge, the charge to repay some of that debt, will be higher if the legislature doesn't pass the securitization. All of which is to say, it's really important that the legislature pass that. If they don't pass that when it's put before them, they're really doing a disservice to the people of Puerto Rico.
Okay.
I'll just add, Kevin, that I couldn't keep up with your list of why the costs would increase. Most of what you said, I think, is true. I think there's one thing that stuck out to me that was not possible. You said the demand for more cash. There isn't any cash at PREPA, excess cash available at PREPA. So incremental cash is really not an option in the PREPA Title III.
Okay, next question is going to be John Marino.
Hi, thanks again. Just to follow up on the PREPA issue, I believe in the past, Mr. Resco and other board members have said that nobody is talking about restructuring changing the RSA, but rather your efforts now are how to implement that. Is that still the case, or is that changes to the RSA? Is that are they on the table in your talks with bondholders? What's going on there?
I think it's best to look at the report and as it was written and given to the court. We are going to turn now to the government of Puerto Rico, both the executive and the legislative branch, to try and determine how, when, under what, how we can get that legislation to implement the RSA passed. That is step number one. As the report then said, if they're not willing or able, or it is not possible for some reason, well, then we need to look at other alternatives. But number one, we would like to cooperatively get the legislation adopted by the legislature of Puerto Rico.
Thank you.
Wait.
Next person. Yes,
So
go ahead.
The board is not pushing for any changes to the RSA. It's going to stand as it stands now.
At this time, that is what our position is, yes.
Okay, next question is going to be Eric De Leon.
Good afternoon to everybody. I had only one question. How does the board view the recent federal arrests of mayors and businessmen who are awarded government contracts in exchange for bribery and extortion schemes? And is the board taking into account the problem of public corruption as an obstacle in the path to achieve economic development?
Antonio can follow. Look, we are very disappointed, as every Puerto Rican resident is disappointed that corruption still plagues the delivery of services on the island. The board has done everything it can at the Commonwealth level to work with the General Services Administration, GSA, to develop better procurement rules that are more transparent and eliminate or narrow the space for that type of activity. Unfortunately, that doesn't apply to municipalities. The municipal code doesn't require competitive bidding. We would support, although we don't have a great deal of authority to mandate, but we would support municipalities voluntarily moving to competitive, transparent procurement, even if the municipal code doesn't require it. And in terms of your question on economic development, I think we talked a lot today about Puerto Rico's reputation and about changing it and changing how people see Puerto Rico. Through which eyes do they see it? Do they see it as, I think somebody earlier said, pobrecito? Or do they see it as the place for change? Do they see it as the future? And I think all of the things that happen on the island influence that. So it's disappointing. It's not unique to Puerto Rico, though, and I think we need to put that in context as well. I'm originally from Chicago, which has a long history, but I do believe that it's important to continue to work to reduce that, because it does affect the reputation, and we would like to see, to the extent possible, that practices change.
Yeah, I'll add to that just briefly. While we are not a law enforcement group, we do believe that good governance begins with very transparent processes and ensuring that this type of conduct is not allowed in government. I can tell you I do live in Puerto Rico, and there's a very significant outrage from the people of Puerto Rico because after everything we've gone through, there is an expectation on our public elected officials and all other officials to have ethics and to drive themselves in a way that it's appropriate for the future of the island. I will add that we are on the verge of coming out of bankruptcy, and as per the speakers today, we have a unique opportunity to drive change. That certainly requires transparency and ethical behavior from all involved in the process as we move on a post-bankruptcy environment to a period of growth. Therefore, we will continue working with the elected officials and the different parts of government to ensure that we can have the most transparent processes, and we will support any changes in that direction.
Okay. Alex, vi que levantaste la mano. You have any question?
No, ya yo estoy.
Okay. ¿Alguien más de la prensa de Puerto Rico? Any other question? No? Okay. So we finish this press conference now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.